Nobody believed me. Everyone thought I was absolutely stupid and crazy. And no one supported my idea. When are you going to bring stroopwafels to the United States? Blah, 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 blah. And they were like, okay, whatever. I'll prove you wrong. And then I just had this dream. It was like, I'm going to bring these improved, vegan, organic, kosher, beautiful stroopwafels back to the Netherlands because in the Netherlands, there is no such thing as branding. Branding is a very American thing.
Well, welcome,
It is
Chantal.
so
Yay!
Good to see you.
Yay! Good to see you too.
Excited
That
to
doesn't happen that often.
excited to I know. Excited to catch up. We did get to catch up a little bit when you were in town.
Yeah,
Was it last month, I guess? Uh,
I don't even
so that was
remember.
fun.
Time flies.
But we always like to start off
um,
our interview with kind of what was your most memorable moment at Medici or with a cup of coffee?
But that's such a hard question though, because I
Hmm.
lived half of my career in Medici coffee, So it's like I was always there. Like we started with you guys. I think that is the most memorable thing that on your only day off in the year that you had, that you go on your birthday to the farmer's market
That's
and then
awesome.
decide to work with us. I think that is the most memorable thing because after that, your mentorship meant the world to me. So yeah, I
No.
think that is still what is instilled in my brain.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
remember you, Taco, and I were talking out front of Eighth and Congress when we had that Medici there
Mm.
and talking business and how crazy it is to be in business. So how did you get to Austin? Like where were you before you came to Austin?
We were back in the Netherlands in Rotterdam.
Mm.
That's where Taco and me met as well back in the day, and he won the green card lottery.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, well, he wanted the opportunity to go to the States. And I was like, well, if you have the opportunity, well, I'm gonna grab it right now. So like literally we could both bring two suitcases and something special. So
Mm.
I brought a stroopwafel iron and Taco brought a projector, like a movie projector. So that's basically how the adventure started. And that's how we arrived in Austin. And within 2 months, Stroopclub LLC existed. And we were at the
Wow. That's
farmers market. Yeah.
so did you grow up in the Netherlands?
Yeah. Born and raised. Yeah,
Born and
absolutely.
raised. Is that did you do any traveling before you came to Austin or was that kind of like Netherlands and then Austin?
No. First of all, if you're in Europe, it's like so cheap. Like back in the day, we had $10 Ryanair flights to London, for example. So it was really easy for us to venture out in all of Europe. Um, I've always been a scuba diver. I
Mhm.
mean, you can in the Netherlands, but I wouldn't recommend it for every single dive trip. So that's why. And my biological dad used to live in Malaysia and the Philippines. So for me, it was always, yeah, I was always out. I was always looking outside of the country. The country's tiny. It's like Dallas, Houston, Austin, that little triangle.
Yeah.
That's the size of the Netherlands, really.
That's
wow.
awesome.
So what was it like for you moving to Austin, like to Texas? If you're gonna, move anywhere in America, like moving to Austin, Texas is a real unique choice. What was that like?
That's what they say. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And we first thought, well, as a European, you think of California or New York, right? That's what you see in the movies, so that's what you want to
Mm.
go. But we didn't have that much money. We didn't have a network, no job lined up, no nothing. So it's like, well, our savings will be done within 4 months if we have to rent something in San Francisco or New York. So Austin, actually, there was a website and it showed the average cost of living and criminality rates and all kinds of stuff. And it came out very positive on all the good things and relatively low on all the bad things. It was like, oh, this is cool, and it's an upcoming city. Let's go there. Um, But it was a culture shock nevertheless, though, because I thought, we speak the same language-ish, we wear the same clothes, we listen to the same music, we watch the same movies, but no way. Like culturally and language and humor and values, it was, yeah, I think I've been crying almost every day in the first 3, 4 months because I was so not knowing what the hell I was doing there.
So
Right.
For real. Yeah.
so you
Right.
just you move here and then you just decided to start a company. Like that sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not more crazy than I usually am. So it's like,
That's great.
well, the thing was like Taco was an economist, right? And he worked for the antitrust department of the government.
Mm,
And I was a recruitment HR specialist for project management for bigger corporates. But in labor law and in recruitment and in values of retention and how to keep your crew happy, et cetera, it's like it's literally the opposite. Texas and the Netherlands are the opposite in that sense. So it's like, yeah,
mm,
my skills and values are not aligned. For Taco, it was not aligned. So it was like, well, there's not really an option, but just completely. And it was a good thing. We're like, oh my God, if we start a company, we get to know people really fast, we get to submerge in a new culture very fast. And
mm.
it was a new adventure. And it's crazy, but I actually got a LinkedIn notification that it's been 9 years exactly this week.
Oh
So I
wow.
get all these like, congrats with 9 years
Wow.
Stroopclub. I'm like, really? 9 years? Good Lord. And the adventure just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still going.
How was it starting Stroopwafel? Because I mean, again, coming from another country and then starting a business in a different country, like again, you're having to navigate all these laws as well as not having not having had business experience, which is similar to Alice and I. Like we were baristas that started a business, a coffee shop, So it's like you're trying to
Yeah.
navigate the whole world of business as well as you have your Stroop waffle iron in your luggage. So it's like so like how did you like what would kind of maybe tell us you and Taco's sort of like process from going from wanting to starting the Stroop waffle idea and then sort of how did it sort of come to be and activated into like was it like Medici and then other places too, because
Yeah.
I think that's a really hard question for a lot of people that are thinking about opening their own businesses is that you have an idea and then how do you get to execution and sort of like
Right.
the personal things you go through it as well as the logistics of like
Yeah.
trying to figure all that out. I think that's really it's cool that you did all that even coming from another country and a whole other system.
Yeah. With my career, I was always in project management, right? So
Mm,
it's always projects that I took. It was 9 to 10 months for a corporate, and then we had to do things. So I had deadlines. So I'm very much used to looking at the deadline. What do I need there? And what do I need to do to get there? And then put that in a timeline because otherwise I'll never make it, right? So
mm,
I have a project management mind. Um, and the creativity, and Taco has both the creativity and the process mind
mm.
because he was very much into rules, regulations. Everything has to be done well, everything has to be done correctly. So I always got angry because he slowed me down, but he always found the stuff that we still needed to do. So I think that combination first of all worked really, really well. The
Mm,
fact that there was a must because we didn't have any income, right? So you have
mm,
to move on. And we had visited Austin in 2015 in, I think, April for a week to see if it indeed was the place that we wanted to go.
mm,
And then we had seen all the food trucks, like the food truck and the farmers market culture. And that's how I came to the idea. And we first wanted to create like a food truck of some kind. But looking into all the paperwork that was necessary, the permits, how much it would cost us, like, oh, the investment is quite big and we don't know. So then I came up with, well, why don't we just go for stroopwafels? Americans love their sugar. We might as well try that. And the investment is $5,000. That's it.
mm.
Like bringing the iron, the marketing, the branding, and we did everything ourselves. We designed everything ourselves. We printed everything ourselves. Like we had to figure out the recipe. We were the first month we were in an Airbnb because we didn't know where to live. And we literally just in that Airbnb asked like, can we use your kitchen? And we just like moderation after moderation after moderation to trying to do that traditional recipe with local available ingredients.
Mm.
And that's how we started. And I think it's the biggest strength there would be resilience, you know? You can't give up. There's gonna go so many things are gonna go wrong. Like so many things went wrong. But you gotta keep going, right? And that's what you told me at least. And I guess you're right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Was there any point in
Yeah.
that beginning process that you were like, this is too much, or you were just on it the whole like failure was not an option? Like, how was that for you?
Well, failure definitely is not an option, but believe me that
Mhm.
I've been sitting in the corner crying for multiple times where at some point we had those beautiful ladies from Skull and Cake Bones.
Mhm.
Sasha, she gave us a space in their kitchen so we could actually commercially kitchen bake stuff so we could supply you guys and Vanu and
Mm.
all the others. And we needed staff, right? Because I was like driving to Tripping Springs in the freaking traffic at that triangle. And I was like so pissed off every day. And then people are sealing your packages, and then 1,000 packages are sealed wrong, so they're sent back, you know, or
Mhm.
they don't feel our iron. Like it's a machine, but you gotta feel it, you know, the temperature of it, like if the dough is doing well, if it's cut well or not, and then they were like undercooked or overbaked or whatever, and then you got to do it all over again. So, oh my goodness, yes, I've cried so many times, and mostly because of staff, to be
Mhm.
honest. But yeah, it's like, what do you do? Give up? Like, that's not an option. Like, it had to be like Chantal's Stroopwafel Imperium at some point, you know? So it's like, yeah.
Well, how far into it did you start hiring people? Was it pretty from the beginning, or was that sort of something that came later down the road?
No, from the beginning, because I think in the first half of the year we did everything ourselves, and then Taco started a full-time job at a
Mm.
software company next to Medici in the same
Mhm.
building. I think you guys were at that point at Congress,
Mhm.
and I still did the farmers market, so we couldn't do that all together anymore. So we started working with refugee services. So
Mhm.
people who were uh, put in Austin, not knowing where they were, not speaking English. And we're like, okay, we're going to teach you English. And you're not going to be in a restaurant in the kitchen cleaning. No, you're going to be at the farmer's market communicating with customers.
Oh.
Um, so we work with refugee services with a normal pay, obviously, that also like, yeah, we came here with big advantage of speaking English, you know, so we
Mm.
should pay forward. So I think within 6 months or so, we had, yeah, a family from Kabul who was working with us. And they were also stickering and labeling all the cookies that then went to your shop. So they did
That's
a lot
awesome.
for us. Yeah. Yeah.
So as far
Wow.
as in your like as you kind of go from like sort of startup phase to sort of established business, because it seemed like there's this period where you farmers market and you said like Medici, Banu, and you started kind of picking up outside wholesale accounts. Like where was it? Could you say maybe that that you felt like your business started to be more defined or add substance to it? If does that make sense? Like it's sort of like you're scrambling and scrambling and scrambling. At some point, you're like you start to feel some momentum, you know. Although we're always scrambling as business owners, but you do kind of get a place where you kind of build a little bit of momentum. Was there a place that you like could think about the future and not just the present,
I
or are you
always
just
think
always the
about the
future?
future.
I
Yeah.
thought.
I'm always in my head in the future. I'm never
uh,
here. That's actually that's why I love the Make Haste Slowly. I was like, no, I gotta be here. I gotta be here. And for the past 2 years, that actually works out. Yeah.
mm,
Being on a tropical island helps when you enjoy sunsets. It's a great thing, by the way. Looking at a sunset reminds you that
mm,
another day has gone, and you can think of did I spend my day the way I wanted to do that? So it's a really good thing. Everyone should watch the sunset or the sunrise every day.
Mm,
Um, I think the moment we could go to a co-packer, the minute we went to a co-packer who took on a recipe and baked the stroopwafels for us on the production line, so I didn't have to go to Dripping Springs anymore
mm,
and bake with people who didn't feel the iron and not having to redo everything and just, oh my goodness, that is when everything changed because we
mm,
could produce more. The quality was way more consistent.
mm,
It took all the time from me from production that I could spend in another place, like marketing or sales or whatever. And that was also the moment we could start working with distributors
mm,
because I did everything myself. I did the baking, the packaging, the sealing, the stickering with help of other people, obviously, but also paid events and the deliveries, which downtown Austin is like an absolute freaking nightmare. Like the amount of
mhm.
fines I've gotten to be parked in the wrong spot. Good
Oh.
Lord. That was like 2 weeks of profit right there. Bam, gone.
Oh,
So yeah, that I didn't have to deliver anymore because of distributors and the fact that some other person made an actual quality, consistent quality cookie on a production line saved my life. I think
mm.
if that wasn't an option, I wouldn't have existed anymore. Like, no,
If I remember correctly, you were thinking about buying all the equipment and doing the production line yourself. Like,
yes.
what made you shift from buying and producing it all yourself versus like finding help in a co-packer?
Taco and me actually always had the idea of passive income, which
Mm.
absolutely is not a thing. Believe me, it doesn't exist. but but we want to travel. We travel a lot, right? And like all my friends and family are in the Netherlands. Not all, but like half of them are still there. And I was like, I don't want to be tied to a location. And of course, you don't have to be there. But on the other hand, I'm like, I think you kind of do have to be there, right? So, and it was also, I think, a $2.5 million investment.
Mm.
And I think both me and Taco are very, very stubborn. I mean, we have Dutch DNA for 100%. So if we had to find an investor and that investor is going to tell us how to do things, that would never be a good combination. So those two things were like, no, let's focus on the goal. The goal is that we can run this company remote.
Mm.
Without having anyone else telling us where we have to be and how often or how long we have to be there. So it was
Mm.
the freedom basically that made us decide to not do it that way and go
Oh,
with the co-packer,
now you're at the beach, so it's like it must have worked out pretty good.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, seriously.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
where's I know like it's in my head. I can't really remember like all the different the milestones and kind of where they actually fit because you started out in Austin and then kind of grew out of Austin. Like, was there a moment where when did you start kind of going more national or are you I guess you're probably international too, huh? Or
Yeah. Yeah, we
all
are.
right. So tell me about that
uh,
process. Like, how did you kind of go from something local farmers market to like now international, you know?
yeah, very slow.
Mhm,
Especially the Dutch way. Bootstrapping, your growth is slow, right? That's the
mhm.
only thing. You have to be very patient. And again, those are your words that always kept sticking in my mind. Like, you're not gonna make profit in the first 5 years. You're not gonna see any results in the first 5 years. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do it then. I'm gonna do it in 5 years, otherwise it's not worth it. So yeah. Um, yeah, it's because of some trade shows. So at some point we were
Mm,
like, okay, let's try to see if we can do some other things. And we worked with Waterfall
mhm,
in Austin, and we like really supplied all the coffee shops so we wouldn't have to drive around anymore. And then we found the one in Dallas who did the same and started working with them. And then we're like, well, there's probably other distributors in other states, but you can't find them
mm,
online. Like, it's so weird. So we went to the Specialty Food Association. They had a trade show. And then we found out that there is a coffee fest, and it
Mm.
happens like 3 or 4 times a year, I believe. Some cities are the same, some change. And we started exhibiting on the trade shows. So we had like a yearly budget of $25,000 or something to go to those trade shows, all extremely low budget, right? And we had a friend and we paid his ticket and food and everything, and he would help us on the trade show. And again, we designed everything ourselves, and it was low budget, but therefore we did pick up
Mm.
the coffee distributors in every state.
Oh, wow.
So that worked really well. And then they got bought up by this huge international player who decided to keep all the snacks for every state local except for our stroopwafel. So within this supplier, we're the only ones being distributed nationally, nationwide to all the coffee shops. It's kind of cool. It's like, yeah. So yeah.
That,
And then Canada came up, and now we have like 3 distribution points there, and then in Mexico City, and we obviously started in the Netherlands this year as well. So we have distribution from Switzerland, France, and England, and it's kind of weird and crazy. Yeah.
It's just, I literally have like chills on my arm. I'm like, I cry every episode
Ah.
because I just get, it's amazing. It's amazing what y'all have done.
Oh well,
I
like
think,
and
but it's hard
you know
work.
that it doesn't feel that way when you're in there, Allison. Like,
I know, but you entrepreneurs need to learn how to like celebrate in your moment. Let other people
yeah,
celebrate you because it is so much hard work all the time. Like you're not off and
ever,
you're not off.
ever. You know that, yeah.
You're always like on call. Even if you're off, you're on call. And it really is uh it's a generous act to create something for
Mm.
people to enjoy. And it's just like hearing about your success just really makes my heart explode because it's real, it's like you were a real person and this really happened and this was like, and it's amazing. Like it's delicious. So
Thank
it's
you.
really delicious. Okay. So, okay.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions just about the product itself. First of all, the stroopwafels that we get in Medici are delicious. How, like, if we went to the Netherlands and had a stroopwafel, how similar would it taste? Like pretty close?
The same. Yeah, the same. The same. Well, actually, some people
It's
say that ours are better. Um, because they have way better ingredients, right? So in
right.
Holland, every single stroopwafel is mass produced, like
Mm.
mass produced.
Okay.
Even if you go to a market or a stand in the street that sells fresh stroopwafels, they get their dough and their syrup from one single supplier in the country. So nobody makes
Oh.
their own dough or their own syrup. And we use
Mm.
super
Oh,
high quality, like organic ingredients, like ethically sourced stuff. We really, really, really work hard to get that like beautifully done. So in that
Mm.
sense, our quality and our freshness is most likely better.
yeah.
And the taste, yes, is the same. We just use more cinnamon than they do in the Netherlands. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So you guys hear this, Medici, go get the stroopwafel because it's better. It's the best in the world. That's what I'm hearing. It's the best in the
I'm a little
world.
biased. A little biased.
Except for, I will say, the one time you did a stroopwafel party and we're making them fresh. And
Yeah,
Mm.
but
we're letting
nothing
the
beats a
kids.
fresh stroopwafel with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they could.
I was
Yeah, that
like,
was a great party.
that was
Nothing beats a fresh stroopwafel. Oh,
whew, so good.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
know.
curious, like, how is your product being received in the Netherlands?
Not at all.
Really?
Why is that?
No, no. We started in the Netherlands because it was a dream of mine, like literally a dream of like, screw y'all. Nobody believed me. Everyone thought I was absolutely stupid and crazy. And no one supported my idea. When are you going to reach Stroopwafels to the United States? Blah, 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 blah. And they were like, okay, whatever. I'll prove you wrong. And then I just had this dream. It was like, I'm gonna bring these improved vegan, organic, kosher, beautiful stroopwafels back to the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands there is no such thing as branding. Branding is a very American thing.
Huh.
So we have these like huge mass producing factories that make stroopwafels, and they're basically almost all the same for all the supermarkets. So let's say that Safeway has its own, but it's from the same factory as HEB, but they just put a different packaging on it, right? I mean, that's how it goes in the in the world of like mass produced foods anyway, right? And probably Lay's chip is the same as whatever chip, and it all comes from the same factory. So the same happens in the Netherlands, but there's no branding involved. So it's just the supermarkets have their own thing.
Mm.
I said, well, yeah, the Netherlands should be ready for a cool brand. But the Netherlands is also very sober and very like, yeah, whatever. They don't believe anything, you know. So there's obviously some vegan stores and some organic stores that sell our products, but we know that the Netherlands is not our market. Like Switzerland, Spain, France, England very much so, the UK, they are our markets. And it was, in that sense, a dream alone. You're not gonna spend all these thousands of dollars because these are also palm oil free, so it had to be like this whole new thing. You're not gonna do a whatever, all these thousands of dollars as investment for a stupid dream, you know? It has to be like sort of have an ROI at some point, right? But it was also the sustainability point of view. It's like, okay, we export our products from the States to the UK. While we say that we're all for sustainability and all of our shipments are carbon neutral, these shipments are not carbon neutral if you send them from here to there. And obviously the Netherlands is a stroopwafel country. It's like, it doesn't make any sense anymore. It's like, if I want to put my money where my mouth is. Like, I don't want to ship products all over the world. I want to keep it. The supply chain should be as short as possible to damage the natural environment as least as we can. So that was more of the decision-making process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we got just approved into like the biggest distributor of the country in England to all the natural food stores. It's like, yay. It was like yesterday.
Wow.
That was good.
So much to celebrate, girl. I've heard
Yeah.
you several times talking about like your values, and we're hearing it, right? And you know, the ingredients you're choosing, the employees you're hiring. I wonder if you could tell us more about like what is most valuable to you, and how did you arrive at those values?
Yeah. We literally ask ourselves a question, one question, with every decision we need to make within our company. And that is, how can we take the step that we need to take with the least damage for our natural environment? And who can we help in the process? And who can we help us in, like, is there, whatever, a female artist or a woman-owned company or a minority or whatever that we can pay, that we can use, such a bad word, but to take along in that step. And I don't know, it's just how we got there. I have no idea. Just I think by being put off by the food industry, like the mass food industry. Also, I wasn't a vegetarian or a vegan when I came to the US. Like, I literally, like, people know me having like 12 to 15 kilos of fresh beef in my freezer, because I literally grew up next to a dairy farm. So if a bull was born, the family slaughtered it and we all got a piece of it, you know? And then, I don't know, I never read into it, researched into it. And then I came to the States and I looked at whatever stuff that is the solution, only 20% solution in your chicken. Like, what is that? So only 20%? Shouldn't be like 0%? And then like I didn't get it. And then we just like research into it and research more in like the meat industry and all the mass produced foods and all the illnesses and sicknesses. And it's like, good Lord, there's so much wrong with our food system, with our food supply, and not just for the health for the people, but also depleting the resources on the planet. And as a diver, like I've been diving for like over 24 years now, I see the decline of biodiversity of amounts of fish, the increase of plastics and trash. And it's like, I cannot be a part of this. It's like, I cannot, I have so much love for both the people and the planet as itself. Like, I cannot. And I feel really, really grateful by how I grew up with having that Dutch education, which is for free for all of us, you know, the healthcare, which is for free. And we grew up cycling to school with a lot of like physical movement and people traveling all over the place. And like, we are extremely fortunate, you know? And there was this saying where it says, like, if you have more food than your neighbors, you don't build a bigger wall, but you build a bigger table, right? So, yeah, it's just instilled. And we also say that we don't want to do greenwashing. We just want to put our money where our mouth is. So, yeah, we are still searching for the flow wrapper, the wrapper of the 2-packs that is still not compostable. Bugs me, but we need bigger. We just need whatever Mars and Unilever and Starbucks. We need them to step up. You know, if one big one like that will actually get involved in development of compostable wrappers, which are available, they're just $2 per piece. You know, and people are not going to pay $6 for a stroopwafel.
Yeah.
But if they would get involved developing it, would be fantastic. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's just the love that we have for everyone, which is the only thing that is in abundance and will never deplete, right?
Yeah.
So that what led you to doing your nonprofit that you started?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Yeah.
So I am a very sensitive person if it comes to like animal suffering or like natural beauty that is degrading, right? So it's also my tattoo, this like woman in a weeping willow. I always said if I was a tree, I would be a weeping willow. Really beautiful and protective, but always looking sad because I see the destruction around me. And obviously reality, we're all guilty, right? I'm guilty. I fly to Austin on Sunday. I'm guilty. I know that. And there's reality. But I'm here working as a dive instructor and a dive master. And at some point, like, I just can't, with my good conscience, go down in the ocean and just show people what is dying. Because that's what's happening. Like, the reef here is dying. And I've been diving here since 2017. And the changes are enormous. So it's like, well, everybody's complaining, everybody's worried, and nobody acts. Nobody does it. So it's like, somebody's got to do it. So I met my business partner, and you're not going to believe it, but his name is Paco.
Paco and Taco. All right.
You cannot believe this. I don't know how I did that. But yeah, so I met my business partner, and just in the street at a little market here, because I was selling some vegan treats. And we started talking, and we were like, okay, shoot, let's do it. Let's just do it. So we started Caribbean Reef Guardians. So believe me, starting a new company in Honduras is also not that easy. So I registered it at first in Texas, and it's an official 501(c)(3). But as I thought, well, I can just copy all the things I do from Stroopclub to there. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, with a nonprofit, that's a whole different spiel. So then I had to learn all those things. And it's like, oh, gosh, so much reading, so many laws. But it's, yeah, at least we're working. We have some great successes. The stuff that makes you happy, you know, the coral actually is growing with like, I don't know, like 3 millimeters, and I'm like bursting from happiness. Like, it works.
What is it that you do? Like, was it what is the function of the
nonprofit?
nonprofit?
So as Caribbean Reef Guardians, that's her name, we call ourselves EPIC, but the EPIC is an abbreviation, and the buckets or the pillars, let's say, of our work. And it's education, protection, inspiration, and connection. So we educate people on coral reefs, because even the dive masters and instructors that have lived here or worked here for years have no idea what they're looking at. Like, everyone knows how to point out critters, creatures, big fish, you name it, but they don't know what a coral is. So they also don't know how to protect it. So we educate people coral biology classes and coral ID classes, and both of us don't have a biology degree, but we've studied the reef for years. So we probably know more than a lot of other PhD students by now. But we also educate on other things, right? So about, for example, eating the lobster. Like I work in an eco dive resort, and I tell them as well, like the lobster here is one of the most important creatures in the ecosystem. You know, it's cleaning the reef from waste and from algae, and so we're educating everyone in a broad way. We're working together with an activity tour company, and they rent out those horrible jet skis. But now with us together, we're creating rules and regulations on not using the steed inside of the reef, and like all the things of like, you can do tourism, of course, local and coastal communities need that. It's their bread and butter, but can we make it a little bit more sustainable, please? You know, and like the noise pollution of those things, like the speed of those things is dangerous for divers. It's like, we need some education there. And we're going to build a seed bank, a biobank, with the genetic material of the corals that still exist and still are healthy now. Because if they are still healthy, they're like super corals, you know, because they survived all the challenges of the last 10 years. And that's going to be turned into an aquarium. So all the kids can come for free, the locals can come for free. And yeah. And we inspire by showing them the beauty, and we connect because we work with all kinds of other NGOs, because I still feel that everyone works in their own little island. It's like, can't we just share resources, especially here in the Caribbean? We all have the exact same challenges. We should share knowledge. We should share resources. We should work together. There shouldn't be an ego, because our purpose should be the same. So that, and we have some coral nurseries, and we grow coral ourselves, and yeah, so all kinds of work.
There you go.
I've seen the videos. Your videos are incredible. Just so beautiful. And yeah, so you guys definitely go follow them on Instagram, because it is like a relief in your scrolling to see this underwater magic moment. Like, oh, yeah. That's
You guys are always welcome, Ellison. Come on. Like,
okay.
You say I need to celebrate things. Like, if I look at you two, good Lord, because you don't only have 9 children, Shafts, or 8 by now, and you also have actual human beings' children, you know? Like, as a mom for you, Ellison, I don't even, for all these years, hallelujah to you, ladies. Like, I don't even know how you do it. And you still look fantastic. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's something to celebrate for you. I admire you guys so much. You have no idea.
Well, it's fun journeying with like other entrepreneurs. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's fun talking to you, and then kind of sharing with each other, kind of the hardships and struggles, and knowing that the other person knows exactly what you're talking about, you know, because it's hard to justify things to people that maybe aren't entrepreneurs. It's like there's things that nobody really sees, and it's hard to be seen in those places too, you know.
Yeah, well, but even with people who are entrepreneurs, because I remember very well, and I won't call any names. If she listens, she'll know. She's like, if you don't do production anymore, like, you don't have to do anything, right? Like, where does your time go? And I'm like, holy shit, you have no idea. So it's like, how often I had to explain that running a business why do you think a big corporate has all these departments? Sales, marketing, accounting, you know, law, whatever. I don't even know. Like, I can't even think of it. Recruitment. I don't know.
HR.
What do you think? Who does that? You think that just happens like this? No, it's Taco and me still, you know, we do everything. Like, are you kidding me? So, so even entrepreneurs don't often understand what you're talking about. And so, but we've been following each other for a while. So it's like,
So I do kind of have to ask, because you've kind of started. Is there any companies or anything that I don't know about that you've started? Is there like another company or anything in there?
Well, yeah, because I also own a building and land here on the
Mm.
island that has an Airbnb rental, and it's all rented out. So I live in the tiniest little studio in the back myself, and a lot of privacy and no sunshine, so it doesn't get too hot. Um, but yeah, that's also a very interesting undertaking because it's an Honduras company, it's a corporation. Good Lord. I've never seen that's yeah. Having a company here in Honduras is a
Uh-huh.
whole other level.
Oh,
Oh
really?
my goodness, yeah. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. It's really testing everything, your patience, your moral values of decent communication. Yeah, everything. It's crazy. But the Airbnb looks really nice. And I own it together with a friend of mine.
Mm.
So for you too, you're more than welcome because we have an allowance every year to keep it free for friends and
Ah,
family for
Oh,
free. And so I would love
all
to
right.
teach you scuba diving. Come over.
my
I would love
gosh.
that. That
I've
sounds
I've
great.
Uh,
I've never been scuba diving. I don't. I'm like, it sounds kind of scary. It looks cool
nah,
though.
I'm also a scuba meditation specialist instructor. I can get you anywhere. Don't worry
That's
about
cool.
it.
Scuba meditation specialist? What it
Yes.
can you just say more about that? What is that?
Yeah. So that's the other part. Oh God, I don't even know. I'm like, what am I doing? So I do a lot of breath work and meditation. And we have a lot of groups coming where often the men, this is not generalizing, this is just my experience, where the man has been diving for a long time and they want to share something together with the woman, if it's a man and a woman in a partnership. And she just goes to please him, but is anxious about it herself. And obviously, you know how it works, right? A couple should never teach each other driving or anything else. Like, it's always the worst idea.
Yeah.
Skiing, don't do
Or
it. Just
how to do
hire.
latte art. That's fine.
Oh God, you
Yeah.
probably know that very well.
I'm like, you have to kind of, never mind, you're doing great.
That's it. No, no, just don't do it.
Uh,
Um, yeah, so I don't know where I was going. I lost it.
You
oh,
teach
husband, wife.
meditation to
Yeah.
the
Ah, yeah,
people that
okay.
are
So
interested.
that's why so we have it's an official PADI specialty. So it's an actual, like, you get a certification for it. But I take one-on-one or one-on-two only students with me, and it's a full day, and we do a lot of breath work and meditation,
Mm.
and we do the skills underwater, but it's all blindfolded, and it sounds scary, but it's not, because the whole idea is to get you out of your head into your body, because
Mm.
that's what people can't do anymore. You know, they're always in
Mhm.
their head. And it's like, no, get out of your head into your body and feel it instead of thinking it. And after that, they're never scared anymore.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I would take that
it's
class.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I'll
I
first
would
give
take
you an
that.
open water class. You have to be certified to do that. But yeah, no,
That's great.
that's like yeah. It's all surround. It's all ocean. It's all being mindful. It's like I
Yeah.
said, for the past 2 years, I've been able to do it. It's your make haste slowly, you know, like,
Mhm.
come on, enjoy that cup of coffee,
Mm.
preferably with a stroopwafel. Yeah.
Totally.
Always with
Preferably
the strip.
overlooking the ocean.
That.
So we'll have to open a Medici
Yeah.
in Honduras now for you. So.
Yes. I mean, the coffee here, to be honest, is amazing.
Oh, good.
Good.
Okay. All right.
I can bring you a bag of beans.
Yeah, I would
Would
like
love
that.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll grab one.
Well, Chantal, as we kind of wrap up, is there anything that we kind of missed that you would like to go over? And then also we like to end with someone with kind of like, do you have a recommendation for us? It can be like food or something that's meant a lot to you that you think you'd like to share with other people, or it can be a recommendation
Uh,
of,
Music,
favorite
whatever.
toenail clipper,
I can think of something that's illegal, so I'm not gonna give that. I'll tell it to you next week in person.
All right.
Um, the make haste slowly, as you guys say it, right? Instead of
Mhm.
mindful, which became probably a trend word. It's truly, I think the recommendation would truly be like, get up for the sunrise or
Mm.
go out for the sunset. you know? Be more aware that your time here is limited and that you cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. So if you work on that a little more, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, just for any human being, know that this is where you are right now and this is gonna end. Every day is going to end. Just look back. Did I do today what I wanted to do? Did I share enough kindness and love to make the world a little bit of a better place, you know? Because there's nothing else to it.
Mhm.
There's nothing else to it. So that's probably my recommendation.
I
That's
love
what
it.
I found out. And I'm still young, I guess. But yeah, I think love and natural beauty, or the love as in a human connection. And yeah, there's nothing else to it. That's life.
Mm. Well, I've
That
always loved your energy and your go get 'em. I think that's something that what I do think of you is like obviously like if you know as you've listened to this whole conversation is like Chantal is a go getter, but then also like I love hearing the balance that you also have as far as like just the meditative aspect and you know taking notice of your body also and taking care of that. I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do. They don't take care of themselves
Yeah,
and I think it's really detrimental to and I feel like it's just been really cool to kind of hear your journey and there's a lot of holistic stuff in there and it's also I just get the impression that you don't see it as something that's complete. It's like it's something that's ongoing that you have to pay
always.
attention to, you know, and I think it's really beautiful. I mean, your story is so cool.
right.
I just love how you've just really
Thank
like
you.
gotten after it too. It's really cool. So cheers.
Well, yeah, and just the way that you've pursued your dreams with,
Mhm.
but with so much conscientiousness
Mm.
and so much, I don't know, it just feels so wholesome.
Mm, thank
Ah,
you.
it's like so wholesome and so good. And we're really honored to get to be friends and partners. And I will take you up
Oh,
on your offer to visit.
yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes, please.
So,
Thank you,
well, thank,
guys. It's way too many compliments, but
well, you deserve them. You deserve them. Uh,
oh,
Well, thank you guys for joining us for Make Haste Slowly, and this is Chantal the Amazing. That's her little brackets, you
come
know,
on.
and
Actually,
uh,
my nickname is Chaos, so I'm not sure.
that's awesome. I love that because like there is such a balance between order and chaos, and it's like you know sometimes you got to create a little chaos before you can bring some order.
Well, growth only happens in chaos, so
That's true.
yeah.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you again on Make Haste Slowly soon.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
everyone.
having me, guys. See you next
All
So
week.
good. Oh,
right.
yes. Yay.